So we just wanted to welcome you all for joining us today. We wish we could welcome you in person to an open house event on campus, but we're excited to have you here virtually. Before we get started, I do just want to mention that if you do want to visit campus in person, admissions is offering in-person tours. If you go to stockton.edu/visit, you can schedule a tour. And then just jumping into it, my name is Maria Elena Dattoli. I work in the Office of Financial Aid here at Stockton. I am a Stockton alum. I graduated in May of 2018 with my bachelor's in communication studies. And I'm working on my capstone project right now to earn my Master of Arts in Instructional Technology in May. I've been in financial aid for 3 years as well. Jess, did you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Jessica. I am a student account specialist within our Bursar's office. I am in my senior year of my bachelor's degree, and then I'm going to transition into my master's with our dual degree program. I did have experience working with our financial aid office for about 2 years, and I've been with the Bursar for a little over a year now. So it's great to have you guys, and as Maria Elena said, if you'd like to schedule an on-campus tour, please do so. It's great to come and see some live. Did you want to get started, Marlene, or should I?
Yeah, we'll get started. Thanks so much, Jess. All right, so I'm just going to share my screen here and we'll get into this presentation. All right, so I'm going to be going over the financial aid part of our presentation, and then Jessica's going to take over the Bursar side. So I do just want to start off by saying we totally understand that the financial aid process can be or can seem a little intimidating or a little bit overwhelming, but the goal of this presentation and our office in general is just to make sure that you have a better understanding and a smoother financial aid process. So getting started, I just want to talk a little bit about the sources of financial aid. So this is going to be where your financial aid comes from. So we have the federal and state governments as well as the institution. And just going over some types of financial aid. So there are grants and scholarships, which are free money, our favorite kind, and then loans as well, which would be borrowed money that you would have to pay back most times with interest. A pro tip, visit stockton.edu/scholarships to apply for institutional scholarships. So admissions actually offers institutional scholarships based on merit as well as extracurricular activity. If you're using the Common App to apply, you'll fill out the activity survey within the Common application. And if you're using the Stockton application, there is a separate activity questionnaire that you can fill out if you go to stockton.edu/scholarships. Any scholarship that you're eligible for would be sent to you, or notification would be sent to you within your acceptance packet. Before we get started on applying for financial aid, I also just want to go over a couple of the documents that you're going to need. So you're going to need social security numbers for parents and the student, 1040s and W-2s as well. I do just want to mention, although we want you to have those tax documents with you, using the data retrieval tool on the FAFSA takes so much of the manual inputting of that information out of the process, and it makes it so much simpler. So we definitely recommend and encourage you to use that data retrieval tool because it transfers your information directly from the IRS. Getting started actually applying for financial aid, your very first step is going to be creating an FSA ID. So you're going to go to fsaid.ed.gov. To create one, you'll enter a username and password of your choice, and then you're going to enter your social security number, date of birth, name, and it will match with the Social Security Administration. And this is your unique identifier. So this enables you to file the FAFSA, sign the application, use the data retrieval tool, and it's verified that it is you. So it's very safe. Your next step, once you've created your FSA ID, and one parent will also have to create an FSA ID to be able to use the data retrieval tool and sign the student's FAFSA. So once you've done that, you can go to fafsa.gov and actually start the application. For anyone coming in or looking to come in the fall of 2021, you're going to complete the 2021-2022 FAFSA. For anyone who's looking, maybe you're a junior, looking for future, so if you're coming in fall of 22, you'd want to complete the 22-23 FAFSA. I do just want to stop for a minute and say, we often hear a lot of times people, like I mentioned earlier, the FAFSA can seem intimidating or overwhelming. What I want everybody to do is once you start the application, answer each question, read each question one at a time, answer each question as it comes. If you have questions, you can stop and always contact our office, either email us, schedule a call, just give us a phone call, and we'd be glad to help you with any question or figure out any question that you have. Once you're finished, you will sign the FAFSA and then submit it. It needs a student and parent signature for dependent students. For New Jersey residents, the state of New Jersey will receive your FAFSA or a copy of it, and they will determine your eligibility for state financial aid programs. So you would go to njfams.hisa.org to view this eligibility. We'll also send you, if you're eligible, with your financial aid offer notification. Next, applying to Stockton. So I do just want to mention, if you visit stockton.edu/apply, there is a promo code to waive the $50 application fee, as well as that's where you can start your application. Next, after you're accepted to Stockton, we'll welcome you into the Stockton family with your financial aid offer notification. So this will come separately from your admissions acceptance packet. It will come as an email, and it'll have a link to a personalized notification that looks a little bit like this. This is going to go over not only your financial aid, but it's going to help you figure out your costs and budget as well. So one thing I do want to mention is that we go over what's called the cost of attendance. This is completely different from your bill. It includes other expenses that we want you to budget for, called indirect expenses, that we would not bill you for. So your direct costs are going to be things like tuition and fees, and if you're going to live on campus, housing and a meal plan. Other indirect expenses would include books and supplies. Say you're commuting, it's gas to get to campus, other personal expenses. These are things that we want you to budget for, that we won't charge you for them, but we want you to think about these. So we include these, and we call this the cost of attendance. If you do want to see what it actually may directly cost you to attend Stockton, you can use our bill estimator online. Jessica will go over that further in her presentation. So after we give you all of the free money that you're eligible for, or talk about that, then that will give you your total net costs. After that, we'll go over any loans that you're eligible for. Some of you might be thinking, well, loans are not financial aid because you have to pay them back. Financial aid is not just free money. Federal direct loans are also considered financial aid. These loans are not credit-based. They're offered to all students as long as they're not at any loan limits. The interest on these was 2.75% this year, which is considerably lower than most private lenders. So we always encourage students to utilize these loans before or in addition to any other type of private loan that they're going to look for. Now, I also just really quickly want to go over some other ways to finance your education. So you may have a gap between what financial aid you have and what you actually owe. So a couple different things, external scholarship opportunities. We have a scholarship resource center on our website where you can view different scholarship opportunities as well as scholarship search sites. I definitely recommend applying for as many scholarships as possible. There's so many out there, there's thousands out there, and any little bit helps finance your education. Payment plan options, which again, Jessica will go over in her presentation, but the university does offer those. A Parent Plus loan for dependent undergraduate students. Parents are able to borrow on the student's behalf through the Parent Plus loan program. And then private alternative education loans, which would be with banks or credit unions, any lender that you would like to go with. We do have a list of frequently used lenders on our website. If you go to stockton.edu/finaid, you can view a list of frequently used lenders by Stockton students. We can't recommend any one over the other. And what are your next steps? So after you've reviewed your financial aid offer, determined how much you think it might cost to attend, review the other options to pay, you're going to submit your enrollment deposit and then accept your financial aid offer. So any free money, any grants or scholarships will be accepted automatically for you. They'll be applied to your bill when you have one. Any loans you have to take additional action on, and there are other requirements to utilize them as well. Another pro tip, visit youtube.com/StocktonFinaid to view instructional videos guiding you through all of these processes. So we have instructional videos for how to view your bill, how to view your financial aid offer through the Go portal, accept it, how to create your FSA ID, all sorts of processes. One new program that we have that I'm sure some of you have heard of that I just want to go over is called the Stockton Promise. So what exactly is the Stockton Promise? It's a new grant that covers 100% of the gap between federal, state, and institutional financial aid and the cost of tuition and fees for qualifying students. So in a nutshell, it's qualified students will receive free tuition and fees for up to 4 years. To qualify and maintain eligibility, so you do have to maintain eligibility each year. You have to enroll as a first-year undergraduate, as a freshman or transfer student for the fall of 2021 or later. You have to be a New Jersey resident, complete the FAFSA every year or the New Jersey alternative application for our DACA students. You have to have an adjusted gross income of $0 to $65,000 per year and maintain full-time status, so enrolling in at least 12 credits per semester at Stockton. I do just want to note that a negative adjusted gross income is ineligible for the grant. Basically all of this, so you're not applying separately, you're filing the FAFSA, applying to Stockton the same exact way. We will determine if you're eligible. You have to maintain that $0 to $65,000 each year. You have to file the FAFSA each year for us to determine that. What this means is that if you're eligible for federal or state grants, those will be subtracted from your cost of tuition and fees first. Stockton will fill in the gap. They'll cover the difference between the tuition and fees. This does not include housing and a meal plan. Those would have to be funded separately. You don't have to accept the federal direct loans for this program. It's just that free money that you're potentially eligible for. If you are, Stockton will cover that difference. So anybody who fits into these categories will receive free tuition and fees. Next, I just want to mention, which I'm sure Jessica can agree with, our offices communicate heavily through email. So if we're requiring anything additional of you or want to inform you of anything, we're going to email you. We're going to email your Go Stockton email especially, so make sure you check that. That's something you'll get the information for in an acceptance packet from Stockton. If you could be selected for a process called verification by either the federal or state governments or both. That would mean that our office or the state government are required to collect additional documentation from you to basically audit your FAFSA. If we have to do that, we'll reach out to you through email, and that's how we'll communicate with you on that. If you are selected for federal or state verification, financial aid is not guaranteed until those processes are completed. So make sure you check your email for important information from our office. I do just want to mention also that we're here for you. We do have other programs that go through our office. So if you have a military or veteran education benefit, we do have a certifying official in our office that would go over how to utilize those benefits. We have managed the federal work study program, and then we also offer financial aid appeals. So we understand that the FAFSA is asking for financial information from 2 years prior to now, and especially in times of COVID times, things can be different. So what we offer is called an income adjustment appeal. You can submit documentation to our office to show the change in income, and we can look at that documentation and see whether or not we'll be able to use more current information to see if that will change your financial aid eligibility. And lastly, I just want to mention our social media accounts. We post all the time helpful tips and tricks, deadline reminders, a whole bunch of important information. So if you follow us at Stockton FinAid, you'll see all of that. We do also have a blog, the Financial Aid Insider, where we go deeper into different processes that our office runs, verification, all sorts of things. And also, if you go to stockton.edu/contactfinaid, you can schedule a phone call with our office, or you can always just give us a call or email us. And just stop sharing my screen now.
Yeah, so now that we have all of Maria Elena's great tips on funding your education and really monitoring your email for extra resources that might be available, let's jump into how we're going to view our term bills. Now, it is important to know that our office does process a bill per semester, so you're not going to be billed upfront for the full year. Okay, so most of you may not be familiar with what the Bursar's office is. I know I personally wasn't. I like to think of it as a central location for all financial aspects of the institution. Not only do we process your term bill, we process refunds, we process collection services. We're overall the main financial source for the university. Now, as I mentioned, your semester bill will be available based off of how many credits you're going to register for. Now, a great tip that we offer is taking between 3 to 5 classes, it's going to cost you the same. So we do suggest taking the 5 classes. You're going to graduate a little bit sooner and still pay the same cost as if you were going to only take 3 classes. So that's a great tip to keep in mind. Maria Elena mentioned some direct charges versus indirect. So when you see your semester bill, it's going to include your registration charges, your equipment rentals, if you need a calculator, anything like that, as well as any Osprey card charges. Then it's going to subtract your financial aid that has already been accepted, awarded. You want to keep your eye out on that Stockton email, as Maria Elena said, because when your award information is available, you want to go in, check that out, make sure everything's lined up in time for our billing due date. Now, we do not bill you for books and materials, but we do allow you the option to move extra financial aid funding onto your Osprey card to then in turn use in our bookstore. Another great tip jumping ahead is using our bill estimator. It can be overwhelming, the cost of your college degree, but using this tool will help you guide, will I take 5 classes this semester? Can I do 3? Using this tool will help you determine your housing cost in conjunction with a meal plan and your enrollment as well. So we do suggest by visiting stockton.edu. On that top search bar, you could search bill estimator right next to the yellow arrow, and you will use our tool from there. Just to quickly go over our tuition and fees, as I mentioned, we are flat rate when you take between 3 to 5 classes, which is 12 to 20 undergrad credits. The total cost for an in-state undergrad student per semester would be around that $7,164 range. And at a student, as you could see, is around $10,800. Now, when you are a part-time student, we do bill you the per credit rate, which at the bottom it is $470 for an in-state student and $756 for an out-of-state student. So it's important to keep that in mind. There's many cases in which you would need to access your statement of account. Maybe you need to provide this to your educational fund provider as proof of enrollment. So by doing so, you want to log into your Go Stockton portal. As you can see, there's a lot of informative tabs at the top, such as financial aid, and then the Bursar. So if you need to provide, as I mentioned, that educational source, a copy of your term bill, you want to go into this tab, the Bursar, and click on that red statement of account. Now, we do have a YouTube tutorial and some further information on what your statement of account represents. You can see this by visiting stockton.edu. Type in Bursar at the top search bar, and by clicking our billing and payments tab, you'll be able to see our due dates, what type of payments are offered, payment plan arrangements, and also accessing the statement of account to show your total charges and your payments that are already applied. Now, it is important to always plan ahead. Are you going to borrow a private loan? Are you going to pay through a payment plan? We offer typically as far as a 5-month plan for our fall and spring semesters. What the 5 payment plan does is it takes your remaining balance after your financial aid and divides it amongst the 5 months that are in the term. We do ask that all balances be paid at the end of each term. So by enrolling in the 5 payment plan, you're really maximizing your monthly payment as opposed to, say, a 4 or 2-month plan. It is important to monitor your email for updates. Maybe your payment plan amounts will change. Maybe they'll go down lower because you were awarded some additional financial aid. So staying on top of all these announcements really is beneficial to you. Always monitor the Bursar website, apply for private aid ahead of time, and always ask questions, please. The Financial Aid Office and the Bursar, we're here to help you and make sure you have all the resources together to pay for the term. Now, as I mentioned before, if you have a credit from additional financial aid that you need to buy some textbooks with, or maybe even a laptop or something cool in our bookstore, we give you the option to transfer up to $1,500 of the credit onto your student ID card. And what you do is you take your Osprey card, you go down to your bookstore, and you say, I'm going to buy a Mac. And you're going to purchase your laptop for the term. That way you're ahead of it. You have a nice, durable computer. You can make a purchase with your financial aid ahead of time. That way you're not waiting for refund processing to begin. You can go ahead and purchase that ahead of time. We do have a step-by-step tutorial video on our Bursar page. So if you needed to check that out, please do so. Now, accessing your term bill, I kind of mentioned before, you can grab that statement of account. It's going to be the same thing here as your regular term bill, just in a different fashion. This tab here is confirming your enrollment, but when you have submitted your deposit and you're waiting for admissions to reach out to you with your orientation date, that way you can get registered. When you are inside your Go portal, please click on your Bursar tab. You'll see all of the cool features on viewing your bill, making a payment, or even checking out the payment plan options available at the time. So now that you've had all this information and you're ready to submit your deposit, you can log in with your Go portal credentials and click on the Bursar tab, and then you're going to click Make a Deposit. You will then select the deposit most appropriate to you, whether it be an undergrad or graduate deposit, and whether it be a specific program, you would see that listed as an option. We do have tutorials as well as the step-by-step on how to make this payment on our Bursar page. Should you need that information, I'm happy to drop that in the chat. As always, I mentioned, please contact us. Sometimes you might have a technical issue where you can't view your statement, you're confused on the right place to go. That's what we're here for. We want to make sure you have the correct information, everything makes sense to you, and of course that all resources are being provided. We are in the office from Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 5, but you can always send us an email. We'll get back to you right the next business day at bursar@stockton.edu. And I think that was pretty much all. If anybody had any questions, we are happy to go through, but thank you for watching.
Thanks so much, everybody, for coming. If you do have any questions at all, you can feel free to drop them in the chat or the Q&A as well. We'd be happy to answer whatever questions that you have. I also did put financial aid as well as the Bursar phone numbers in the chat, just in case you had any questions that you wanted to discuss privately. We'd be happy to do that. As Jessica said, you can also email our offices. Our office also has a feature where you can schedule a phone appointment as well. All this too can be found if you go to stockton.edu and just search our offices, you can find all of this on there as well. One thing I did want to mention really quick too is that under our financial aid page, we have a list of the steps that I went over today for the financial aid process, and different instructional videos and things like that that will help you through the process, just in case you have any questions.
Definitely, and I also suggest following financial aid on all their social media pages. I know I personally do. They post scholarship opportunities. They post reminders on when you should follow the FAFSA. It's important to follow these dates. That way, when your bill's open, we're not sending you a reminder you have a balance due when this could be handled ahead of time. So it's cool to check out social media. That way you're on top of it as another platform as well.
Thanks so much, Jess. If nobody has any questions, I guess we'll end. And thank you, everybody, for coming. And
thank you, everybody. Thanks, Richard.
All right. Well, everybody have a great day.